this is the project that we're going to be making today then. This is the Cupcake pop-up card on Cricut Access, and I'm just going to quickly show you how to find this project if you haven't seen it before. So if you're on your Canvas screen like I am now, all you're going to do is go to Projects, and then in this search projects box up the top, if you just type in pop-up and hit enter, you'll get all of the different pop-up cards, and you can see all of the different ones here. And I have videos on this balloon one, this sunflower one, this Christmas tree one, and also the snowflake as well. But this is the one we're going to be doing today. So if you just click on it, it's going to give you all of the different information that you're going to need about this project. So it tells you how long it's going to take to make, the finished size of the card, then it tells you the different colours of card that you need and everything else that you'll need to make this project. And then it does give you some instructions here on how to put this project together, and that is one of the reasons why I make these pop-up tutorial videos, because these instructions are generally pretty terrible. So it's easier, I find, to follow somebody actually doing the project. So once you've had a read through all of that, if you just click on customize, I don't need to because obviously I've already got it on my mat. So if I just come off there and then go back to my canvas, it shows me all of the pieces that I've got to cut out now. Now I'm not going to be making the envelope for this project. I'm going to use one of my own that I've got as a pre-made one. So if you don't want to make the envelope as well, just click on it and then come up to the top here and just pop that into the bin. You'll want to just drag over everything and group it together if you are going to want to resize this project. I'm not. I'm going to leave it exactly as it is. By doing so, this card is pretty big. It is bigger than A4, so you're going to need some pieces of 12 by 12 or 30 by 30 centimetre pieces of card for this project. If we go through to make it, you'll see what I mean. As you can see, it's popped all of these different pieces onto the mat, and normally if we came to material size we'd be able to change that to an A4, but because this card is bigger than an A4 sheet of paper, it's not giving us that option, so we need to be able to use the bigger sheets of paper today. So we have got 6 mats here to cut out with all the different little elements that you're going to need. It does show you what you're going to need for each mat. So you've got scoring, you've got cutting, some of them also require drawing, so these lines are all drawn on as well, so just be mindful of that. You're going to need a few pens. I'm going to be using the Scribbleiscious pens. I'll show you those in a minute. So what we want to do now is just go through to continue. I'm going to be using my usual medium cardstock, so I will set my settings as medium cardstock just here, and then I'm going to leave my pressure as default, and then I will start cutting everything out. Once it's all done, I'll come back to you and we can start assembling. This is the equipment that you're going to need to make this card with your Cricut. So I've got my glue, my brayer, my scraper, then I've got my fine point blade and my scoring wheel. If you haven't got a scoring wheel, you could use a scoring stylus as well, have that on hand. I've got my True Control knife. I don't need a weeding tool for this one. I have a pair of tweezers, and I've got a couple of these little quilting clips that I like to use just to hold my gluing together when I'm making something. And then these are the pens that I'm going to use today. Again, these are the Scribbleiscious pens from the works. I'm going to be using this sort of raspberry pink colour and the blue. On the information from Cricut, it says to use the Midnight pen, but I like this pale blue colour better, so I just think it looks quite nice. You're going to need a light grip mat. I'm using a very well loved standard grip mat today, but if you don't have that, definitely use a light grip. You're going to need a selection of card. I'm using various different colours. You can use the colours that Cricut suggests if you want to, or personalise it completely and make it your own and use whatever colours you like. With a couple of the mats that you're going to cut, you're going to have these little bits left over from the slices that are being made inside these little pieces, so you need to make sure that you get these off of the mat before you move on to the next one. So just use your scraper and just scrape them out of the way like that, and that will just keep your mat nice and clean, and make sure that you get a really good cut each time when you put it into your machine. That was a pretty mammoth cutting session, if I'm honest with you, because this one is pretty complicated. It does have lots of pieces in it, as you can see. These are all the pieces that you'll have cut out once you finish cutting those 6 mats, if you do it as 6 mats. So I've got here quite a lot of bits and bobs that we're going to put together and make this fab card with. So I'm just going to show you this piece of card that I've actually used for the main body of my card. Can you see the texture on it? This is a Cricut premium textured cardstock, and it's really nice. It's got like a linen finish to it, so it looks almost like a fabric. I really like this, and I think it will look great for a card. First things first then, what we need to do is get the 2 pieces that you've drawn the icing onto with your machine. So we need both of those, and then we need to grab these 2 pieces here. Now if your machine is like mine and it may have dragged slightly there, what you'll need to do is just grab your craft knife and just carefully just go through those and get those little fuzzy bits off that are in there. This card wasn't the best quality, but it did cut nicely for this round piece, so I thought it might be nice for this as well, but it didn't cut quite so well. I don't expect it will matter too much. So what you're going to do is grab one of these and then get your cupcake piece, and you'll want to just slide that onto there. So align this slot with the second slot in on that pink piece and just pop that in there. And then you'll want to do the same with the other piece on the other side. So we need that to be facing the right way around. That's a good point actually. Make sure that your coloured part of your icing is facing outwards. Then you're going to want to do the same with the other pink piece. So inside the second slot that's in that pink piece. Okay, and that is ready. That piece is done. So your next step is to grab these pieces. So you've got 2 of these that you will have cut out in brown card if you're using the same colours as what is on the screen that's recommended. Okay, so what I want to do is fold my little tab outwards like that, and then I'm going to pop that now onto the other slot of that pink piece, and you need to do that on both sides again. So it's a good idea to do them both at the same time, because it's difficult if you've got one in place and then not the other one. And then you're going to get your other brown piece again and fold that little tab out, and then you're going to pop that again on the outside there. Right, and when those are in place, again your bottom piece should be completely flat, and there shouldn't be any up and downs with your card. It should all be completely flat on the bottom there. That'll stand up on its own now if that's put together correctly. Now you need to get your cupcake case, which is this piece that we did with the pen as well. I'm just going to again just tidy up this little slot here with my craft knife. There we go. And what you're going to do now is pop this around the outer edge of your cupcake. So if you fold across those score lines and then again like that, you'll see that it creates the shape of a square almost. So that will go around your cupcake now. And what you'll want to do is just slot that piece through there like so, and just push that in together. Now what I'm going to do is just grab my candle pieces, and I'm going to put these together. So I've got one for either side of my little flames. I'm just going to grab my glue, and I'm just going to put a small bit onto here. Okay, so I'm going to use my tweezers to pop these little pieces on here. Just pop that down there. And then I've got a little tiny flame as well, and I used foil for this. Whoops. I used foil for this piece. As you can see, it's quite difficult to pick up. I need one of those little dotting tools, I think. Okay, right. So I used foil for my inside of my flame, and then I used glitter for the outer edge, and I'm just going to pop that on there like that. I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing again. So that is what your flame will look like when it's done. Okay, so once we've got those pieces in, what we need to do now is pop these stabilizers in, and they just go in this side, and they're going to basically create more stability for your cake. So on these pieces you can see there's 4 little slots, and they correspond with the 4 slots on the side of your cake. So if you just pop that into the top there, you can actually use your desk for this part, because the cake stands up on its own. It's pretty good to put it together whilst it's flat. A lot of the pop-up cards you can't do this with. This makes life so much easier. For your second piece, you're going to want to make sure that you've got opposite sides on. So if you've got the long piece coming out this side, you want the long piece to be coming out on the opposite side for this one. So let's just pop that into there, and you can see that those 4 slots are lining up with the 4 slots just at the top, and we can just push that down once that's in place. Now we need to fold across these score lines here. May have been easier to do that actually beforehand. As long as you're careful there, you should be able to do it, or you could just take it off if you'd like. And then what you'll need to do is just pop a small dab of glue onto that tab there, and onto that tab there, and you want to just glue those together. Now if you have some quilting clips, I would probably recommend using those now, just to hold those 2 pieces together until it's dry, making sure that you get a really good connection. Okay, so that is there, and that is what your little cake will look like now. The next piece to go on is going to be this, but we're going to do that in a second. So I've started with this piece, and I've just glued the 2 pieces of the flame on, and then I've got my little bits for my candle. So what I need to do now is just glue these together. Okay. You want to make sure you get them the right way round, because you've got icing on either side and it's going to be opposite as well. So you'll see in a sec. Oops. There we go, that is on there now. Alright, so I've glued those on there, and it's giving you the little icing bits at the top. So this piece now is going to go into the top here. And the 2 slots just line up with the 2 remaining slots in the top of your cake. There you go, so there is your cake. These are the 2 last bits to go on. We can take those clips off, and then these pieces just glue onto the side of your cupcake like so. Oops, dropped it. So they're going to glue onto the bits where we've just taken those clips from. So let's just put some glue onto there. I'm going to put it on both sides at the same time. Doesn't matter if it goes off a touch. And then you want to just line your icing up with that outline of the brown piece there so it matches. And I'm just going to put that clip back on just to hold that, and again on this side, so you've got your round bit of your icing here and it's going to correspond with this brown bit here. Put that on there, and again let's pop that little clip back on there just to hold that in place while we put the rest of the card together. So let's put that little cake to one side. Next up then is this piece, and this is the piece that's going to allow for your folding of your cupcake when it's inside the card. So what you'll need to do is get this piece attached to your cake, and I'm not going to fold it up at this moment in time purely because I've still got my little clips on there while that glue's drying, but all you want to do is fold across your score lines again and make sure that you're folding it up with the drawn line on the inside, and then you can just turn it over. What you'll want to do is get your cake in so it is that way around. Let me just pop these tabs under and I'll show you. So what you'll need to do, if your score line is going from here to here, you need your tab to come out just on that line there and then on this line here. So they're going to be opposite one another. Just take a look at that now and just familiarise yourself with where those are going to be. And then these just get glued to the bottom of this piece. So I'm going to just start off by holding that there. I'll pop some glue onto this bit here. And then I'm just going to glue that very straight up into that corner. So it's right butted up with that corner. And if you've got another quilting clip, you could put that on there and just hold that in place with that piece. So that is held there. Next I'm going to just grab my other side, and I want that again to be right up in that corner. Pop a bit of glue on there and just pop that onto there, and again I'm just going to pop another quilting clip on there. So that is how your inside folding piece should look when you're waiting for it to dry. Now what we're going to do is pop these pieces on. These are the inside pieces, and you just need to make sure you leave a little bit around the edge here. So you're going to want to leave about 6mm. So it's about there. All I'm going to do is just put some glue on the back of this all the way around. I am going to go across the middle as well. Not everybody does that, but I like to. And then I'm going to just pop that onto there. Make sure that you avoid your score line if possible. That's on there. And now do exactly the same on this side. Don't forget to make sure that your square edges are in the centre and your rounded edges are on the outer side of your card. The last step then, now that we've got our inserts glued into the card, so it should look like this. You just need to make sure you've got your card the right way round now. So you're going to want to fold across your score line just there. And if you do want to make that a little bit more crisp, you could use a scraper, or you could use your braying tool if you've got one. So you can literally just grab your brayer and roll it across the top there, and then that just makes that nice and crisp there. So we can open our card up, and what we want to do now is, so if it's going to be this way around, we want to make sure that the score lines match up. You've got your score line down the centre of your plate, shall we call that the plate? So I've got your score line down the centre here, and what you want to do is line that up with this score line in here. So what I like to do is just fold it over, and I'm going to glue one side before I fix the other side down. So I'm just going to put some glue, and you want to put quite a bit on here, but don't make it swim in it, but you know, just enough that it's going to have a really good stick to this. If you don't want to use glue, you could use double-sided tape as well. That just does just as good of a job. So I'm just going to fold that up and just look where my score line is. And then I'm going to pop that onto there. And I want to press that down nicely so my cupcake is completely flat now and folded up. And I'm going to hold that there for a few minutes just until that dries off. And then once that's done, we can open it up and we can just look at the other side. So that is now going to fold over like so. So the best way of making sure that you get the right positioning for this side is to just glue your pink piece again, the same way that you did with the other side. Make sure you've got, again, plenty of glue on there. Give it a good spread around. And what I do is just close the card on it and then just give it a good press down. Really like the texture of this card. It's lovely. So that is the way it will look from the front. I am going to embellish this with an 18 because it's for an 18th birthday. So when you open it, there is your cupcake. Doesn't it look fabulous? I absolutely love these pop-up cards. They're just so brilliant. You can now press it down and make sure it's nice and well stuck. You can write in it, you can put stickers in it, you can do whatever you like. But this is what your cupcake will look like when it's done. And if you look at it from straight down, it'll look like that. And then when you fold it up, it's nice and flat inside and all folded really neatly, ready for the next opening of your pop-up. So there you go. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial for this pop-up cupcake card. If you have, I'd love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. And if you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button as well and let me know that you like this sort of content. If you want to see more pop-up videos, drop me a comment down below and I will definitely get onto some more of them. There are quite a few on Cricut Design Space. All that's left to be said now then is have a great week. Take care of yourselves and I'll see you soon. Bye!